Hi, my name is Bob DeWitt. I'm president of Southwest Senior Benefits. There is an issue that has been raising havoc on seniors' retirement plans, specifically those plans that are heavily invested in the stock market. The issue I'm referring to is called the sequence of returns issue, and I'd like to explain it to you. To do so, I'd like to use an example that was taught to me by a gentleman named Jim Otar. Jim's got a great webpage at www.retirementoptimizer.com. In this example, we're going to look at the portfolios of three gentlemen, all of them related, a grandfather, a son, and a grandson, that each retired during a different era. Each of them did relatively well during their working career, and they each begin their retirement with $1 million. They invest the $1 million in the stock exchange. Each of them will pull $60,000 out annually to pay for their retirement, and each will begin their retirement at age 65. They assume a conservative growth rate of 8% and an inflation rate of 3%. Let's see what happens. Well, on paper, the retirement plan should do great. They should have plenty of money to last the retirement, and they should have enough money left over to pass on a great deal to their beneficiaries as well. Let's take a peek, though, and see what really happened. Well, the grandfather turned 65 in 1929, and after a nice bull market, decided to retire. While the stock market went down, he continued to pull $60,000 out a year, and he went broke 9 years later. Well, you might be thinking, Bob, that's an aberration. That was during the Great Depression. Everybody lost money then. Well, let's look at this example a little further. His son retired in 1966, again at the end of a nice bull market. He continued to pull $60,000 out each and every year, and he was broke 13 years later. Finally, the grandson retired on January 1st of 2000. He turned 65, invested his $1 million, and pulled out $60,000 a year. He was broke 12 years later. How can this be based on the forecast looking so rosy? Well, it turns out it's not so dependent on the numbers you used in your forecast. What really impacts your retirement plan is the sequence of returns that you experience during the early years of your retirement. Here's a chart to help explain it. On the top side, we can see how the Dow Jones did over the last 100 years. And as we all know, it did relatively well, moving up and to the right. Down below, though, we can see how well and how long our portfolio would have lasted if we retired in that specific year. So if we look at year 1900, for example, our portfolio would have lasted 21 years. If we retired in 1925, though, our portfolio would have lasted 40 years or longer. It turns out that if you tend to catch a bull market when you retire, you'll probably have plenty of income to last you for 40 years or more. If you miss that bull market and retire in a bear market, using the simple example that we showed, your portfolio could last much less. That's the issue regarding sequence of returns.